I hope you're right, and I hope he's okay. As we look at the Kings and their checkered history and the fact that they've now lost 13 straight games, and tomorrow night, if they lose, they would tie the all-time franchise record, which goes back to Rochester, Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Sacramento. The Cincinnati Royals lost 14 straight twice, so they would tie that record. So we're just looking at how they got here. I honestly think, and I'm reluctant to say this, Alan, because I don't want to go after this guy. Everyone's going after him as it is. But there's evidence that of all the missteps the Kings have made over the last 10, 15 years, the acquisition of Zach Lavine might be the most damaging.
I find it hard to pick something else because the draft stuff, hey, people make mistakes in the draft. It's a gamble. This was so avoidable. I think that's the problem. Even Tyrese and Sabonis, you went for it. You broke the playoff drought. But this was so avoidable that makes it the worst, in my opinion.
And also given that it was De'Aaron Fox that you sent out, face of the franchise, and you got Zach Lavine back. Now, we've talked a lot over the years about plus minus. You know, any NBA box score, they have minutes, field goals, three-pointers, blah, 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 and they have a plus minus. And we joke about that because plus minus for any one game, which is just when you were on the floor, did the team score more or score fewer than the other team? For one game, it can be way out of whack, and you can cherry pick. So game to game, just one game by one game to look at plus minus, like there's not much there. But if you look at it over time, you start to see some things that may matter more. And Roland Beach at 82games.com, if I'm not mistaken, he just looked at the top 25 highest paid players who is the on-off outlier. And basically it boils down to this. Of the top 25 highest paid players in the NBA, highest paid players, Zach Lavine, his teams have almost always been better with him off the court. And when he's been on the court, they've given up more points than they've scored. A lot. Like always. Like when he was with the Timberwolves as a rookie, just year by year, Minnesota, on court. How did his team do when he was on court? Starting in 2014-15. Minus 14.6, minus 6.1, minus 3.5, minus 12.9, minus 7.4, minus 5, minus 0.5, minus 0.6, plus 0.4, minus 5.2. Last year, minus 1.3, and this year, minus 12.7. Now, that's when he's on the court. On, off. Do they do better? How do they fare when he's on the court compared to off the court? Minus 9.6, minus 6.7, minus 4.4, minus 6.3, plus 2, minus 5, plus 0.8, minus 0.7, minus 4, minus 4.9, minus 0.9, minus 5. And that is a real outlier. That's the worst among all of the top 25 players in the NBA.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
And it really just reminds me of what Scott Perry said on his podcast last year. You know, Zach Lavine's type of player puts up numbers, but I'm not sure he helps you win. Right. And these numbers demonstrate that.
You know what it sounds like to me? And this guy, just got picked up by Milwaukee. And I think it was very smart by Milwaukee.
Cam Thomas?
Reminds me of Cam Thomas. Or it reminds me of this is why nobody wanted to go after Cam Thomas. Because the days of being a one-trick pony, even if that trick is scoring, those days are done. Money is higher than it's ever been, but money has been more important than it's ever been. These contracts values are more important than they've ever been. And you cannot invest in somebody that can't do multiple things. And I think that's been the issue with Cam Thomas because he can get you 40, but he's just not going to do very much else. And I think that's what we're seeing with Zach Lavine. I mean, he can score the basketball, but I think the other part of it is, as we talk about the scoring, Zach Lavine can score the basketball, but the way he scores the basketball, yeah, he can get you 30-point games here and there, but Zach Lavine is not really going to go for 40 or 50. Not that happens often, but there's a difference. If you're not going to defend, I'm not saying you have to be Luka, but you should be able to take over a game sometimes like Luka. I think that's the issue with Zach Lavine. If you don't want to defend, it is what it is, but you better be our mainstay offensively when we need you. And he's also not that.
Yeah.
So even the one trick that he has, he's not the most elite at that. That's really the issue. Because if you're not going to play defense, you just have to be some version of Luka.
Yeah. I'll just compare him again. I know that's a lot of numbers, and it's hard when you can't see it, but I'll just compare him here to the guy at the top of the list. Jokic, salary $56 million, a positive on-court number and a positive on-off. 11 times Jokic has had both of those, and Zach Lavine has never had that. So, again, I'm not going after Zach Lavine, but I'm just pointing out here, he's a player that has demonstrated, and the numbers demonstrate, he doesn't do much to help you win. And the Kings, clearly, when they got him to be a foundational piece to help them win, and he's never been that.
No. And the other part of that contract is, look, when he signed that contract, shortly after he had those injuries, and maybe you could make the argument that the Bulls thought that he could get there and the injuries kind of derailed maybe his progress.
They saw him as a guy who probably, he's playing with, Wiggins and Cat, but on his own, he can carry a team.
Right.
And we're going to bet heavily on that happening.
Right. So they did that. They paid him. He had some injuries, and then from there, he just is who he is now. The fact that the Kings knew that and then traded for him is the problem. Keegan, a lot of people are saying Keegan might be overpaid or whatever. At least they're paying him based on what they think he could get to. He's still on the rise up. Even that previous contract for Zach, you could argue, hey, we're looking at his trajectory and we're hoping that it keeps going up. He had some injuries and it doesn't. Paying that now is the egregious part. That's more egregious than giving him the contract because you know what he is. You at 24, and the other part, and I know I brought up Luka, but Luka rebounds. Luka is a great assist man. Luka's putting up triple doubles even if he doesn't defend. Zach Lavine has never been any of that outside of a bucket. So paying 49 mil a year for 25 points per game, when that was a really good season for Zach Lavine because he hadn't been playing, I just don't know what the thought process is, and that's why there's been all of these, I guess, theories about who actually wanted this. Because Whitey, I'll be honest, and I've had people tell me this when I was at Summer League and people were just flabbergasted. The argument is I can't see a lot of basketball minds that would make this move. And the fact that Monty McNair, he's not a GM right now, but got another job kind of lets me know that the league maybe doesn't view him as the one that really wanted to make this
What
move.
a nice way to say that.
If he didn't have a job.
I wondered where you were going there. Okay.
If he didn't have a job now, right, then I would look and say, okay, feels like the league maybe thought that Monty McNair was the one who cooked this up. The fact that somebody else let him into their building kind of lets me know, hey, they have separated him from that move.
Zach Lavine was like a last gasp. I know there's a movie coming out, Hail Mary. It was like Zach Lavine was like a Hail Mary. We're losing De'Aaron. He's going. We still have these veterans. We still have, remember when they acquired him, we still have a chance to do something with this team. This is it. We're all in on Zach Lavine helping this team get better. Unfortunately, Zach has rarely, if ever, done that with a team. And so that was a poor bet to make. The good news is Scott Perry apparently recognized that before he got here, but now that he's here, there's really not a lot he can do about it. No. Although, Zach, in theory anyway, with that contract, if he's around next year and it's an expiring, I mean, there's some upside with that.
Yes, yeah. If you want to overpay for a guy like Zach when you already have your dude, that's one thing. But paying Zach to be the dude is another. Like the Bucks, when they were interested. Well, we got Giannis, Zach seems like a high-level number 3 or maybe even a number 2. Cool. So teams might be interested next season. All right, fine.
And he can shoot.
Yeah,
he can shoot.
We're going to overpay. And maybe he would be even better on a team where he was doing what he's meant to do, right? And when he came out last season, they were saying, hey, you got to handle the basketball. We need you to be a point guard because we traded our point guard for you. He's looking around thinking, but I'm not a point guard. That's not what I'm here to do. So I thought that kind of affected him too last season, even though he put up the same numbers he was putting up in Chicago. And yeah, if you want to overpay the Warriors were interested in Zach Lavine. If you want to overpay to try to get yourself over the hump, that's one thing. But feeling like he's going to live up to that contract and be that guy, that's where you messed up.
3-3.